So if our listeners listen to the outro, which we know by analytics, all of our listeners listen to our outro all the way through.
Yes. I think some people actually just tune in for the outro.
I don't think so. All our outros are really good and well thought out usually. But you'll find out that the second coolest thing about this city is that they invented sliced bread.
Yeah.
The first cool thing is
Stompbox
Brewing, who we're talking to today. I mean, I do love sliced bread, and we were discussing off air, like, before sliced bread, people just probably just, like, gnarred into bread. They didn't cut
like
it
a wild
or anything.
animal, just arr.
Yeah, so thank you for modernizing.
Inventing that, yes.
Yeah, modernizing humanity forward. I appreciate that. But also, thank you for your beer. We're enjoying a lot of it right now. So we're here. Yeah, we are here with Stompbox Brewing. We start every podcast by asking our guests their first memory of beer and their role at the brewery. So take it away, gentlemen.
I don't know if I want to mention my first association with beer. I was a very young age, but probably my first real, get into craft beer was, with Guinness and Fat Tire and some of that stuff in the, early 90s, Sierra Nevada and Grant's Perfect Porter and some of that stuff that was out and about at that time. So
my first memory of beer would probably be being allowed to take sips out of my dad's beers when I was about 3 years old. Things like PBR and whatever was cool back in the early 70s. So
PBR's still cool, man.
yes. And beyond that, I think as far as craft goes, kind of like with Matt, at one point I was a probably dedicated macro drinker only because it was cheap. And but 10 to 15 years ago, sort of started, trying some different craft beers. And like a lot of people started out with basic stuff like Goose Island Honkers Ale is one I remember drinking early on. There certainly weren't as many options back then, but Boulevard, some of their beers, the wheat and the pale ale, Sierra Nevada pale ale. So a lot of the common,
entry ones, gateway ones.
Yeah, gateway beers. There
Gateway
you go.
beers. Yeah.
And what was the second part of our question?
Oh, and the rolls at the brewery. Yeah.
We're both, Matt and I are two of the three owners. We're all equal third owners. And generally all three of us pretty much fill most of the back of house roles, especially as far as like brewing and recipe creation and seeing beers through from brew day to drinking day.
Yeah. So are you all homebrewers before this, or did you professionally brew before Stompbox?
Basically homebrewed for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So I got in it fairly early, got into it basically because I bought my dad a homebrew kit for Christmas one year, and he did it for, I don't know, a couple batches, and he had a fermenter blow up in my mom's bathroom. And that ended his homebrewing career. And then I took his gear, and here I am. So
I did not know that story.
yeah, it stunk and it was all over. So
That's great.
Same for me. Never have brewed professionally. I think I actually tried home brewing a couple times, maybe 3 or 4 times back in the early 90s when it was, I think we had a local homebrew shop that had just opened. And at that time, I wasn't really that into craft beer. So I tried it a few times and sort of put it aside, but then kind of picked up doing it again somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago. Around the same time, I kind of started enjoying craft beer. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Obviously brewing on like 5-gallon system, maybe even a 10-gallon system. What are you brewing on now in Stompbox?
yeah, so we have a 7-barrel electric system from Stout.
Cool.
Nice.
And so all our equipment's from Stout. And so, yeah, 7-barrel electric.
Yeah. When you were going from quote unquote amateur brewing to like professional brewing, what kind of guidance were you getting, to go with a 7-barrel system? And do you wish that you did a bigger barrel system? Hindsight, 2021,
I don't know. I still feel like we still have a lot of capacity here to, I'll say, exceed our 7-barrel system. The 7-barrel system allows us to be a little bit more agile and brew more beers. We're not distributing at this time, so it's all sold through the tap room. So it's good to be able to turn beer over for us. So
for sure.
But yeah, as the business hopefully grows, yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll wish we had a 15-barrel or larger. So
yeah,
if anything, I think, like Matt said, the size of the system, it works for us pretty well. The size of our space, we maybe wish we had a little bit more room. We wanted to add a couple of fermenters or something like that. That, I suppose, if anything, is our limitation right now.
What do you have for fermenters right now?
Two 15-barrel and 2 7-barrel. But bottom line is we can't have more than 4 beers, obviously, going at any given time. So, and we just, quite frankly, unless we got really creative, don't have a whole lot of space to add additional fermenters.
Right now, but in the future, yeah. For now.
But we've only been open for a little over a year, so we'll, baby steps, I guess.
Yeah, well, congrats for a little over a year during such a chaotic time.
Yeah.
I'm always interested when people say, I want to open a brewery. Why did you want to open a brewery during COVID?
Well, when we signed our lease, it was November of 2019.
Okay, so you didn't know about COVID.
we didn't know about COVID yet. So we kind of pushed our chips in, and then you're just like, well, this is the hand we're dealt, and you just got to go for it. And so,
we had purchased equipment and the lease and gotten a loan all like October and November. So
you're paying rent. Yeah.
We weren't, I don't think they would have let us send the equipment back. So we figured we had to,
buckle down and do it.
Forge ahead.
Yeah. Were you originally planning on canning your beer, or is that just a COVID thing?
So basically our canning is very manual. It's, we have one of our bartenders helps us out. And so we basically fill these cans individually. And then we have like a crowler machine. That does it. So it's really just for to-go sales through the tap room. We don't have like I'll say a professional canning machine. So not yet. Just at this point, we're just trying to get the tap room rolling and get that going.
Get beer out the door.
I have to give you some accolades. The peak performance that we're drinking right now is the peach guava sour you're offering.
Delicious.
And to ship a beer that you manually packed, a sour beer especially.
And it arrives safely.
Take some balls, and I that's just an attribution of a good brewer, so I appreciate that. It was an excellent beer. Something you should definitely be proud of. We have a couple of other offerings that we're going to get into more into the episode, but are you guys still working your full-time jobs with Stompbox, or is this a... So you guys are pulling those 16-hour days, huh?
It's all three of the owners. We all have full-time gigs, and so this is our second full-time gig.
Jesus.
So
cool. So what are your full-time jobs then right now?
I'm a mechanical engineer for we make manufacturing positioners, so it's basically equipment to make equipment. So
cool.
I work for the federal government, specifically Department of the Army. I'm not prior military. I just work in a procurement role. There's a place here right in the middle of the Mississippi River called the Rock Island Arsenal, which is a fairly large military, manufacturing and procurement installation. So I've worked there for about 11 years.
Cool.
Basically a cost and price analyst. That's quite exciting.
Do your coworkers just think you guys are like fucking awesome for having a brewery now, or do they think you're crazy?
Both.
Most thing is awesome, but they don't understand the how much extra work there is. I'm sure if they understood that,
the day in the life,
Then
Yeah.
they think we're crazy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where did your three paths, all three owners, converge? Or you guys grow up together, or like meet in college, so on and so forth?
Kind of somewhat disjointed, I guess. Matt and I are actually neighbors.
Oh, cool.
We live
Nice.
about 2 or 3 blocks apart. And then the other owner is a guy that I have known for 15 to 20 years. We used to play rugby together locally here in town. I'll skip all the boring details, but the three of us ultimately ended up sort of getting together and early in the planning stages, and then it took us a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the whole COVID thing. I mean, we had looked for space for at least a year.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Before we found this space that we ended up in. So, again, great timing, but we finally sort of like zeroed in on this place during the summer of 2019. And like Matt said earlier, ended up sort of moving forward in the fall.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So before we get into the origin of your name, Stompbox, being a musician, I have an idea of what that is, but I'm curious to hear your story. We have a word from our sponsors. So take it away, Sound Guy Ryan.
Did you know that your favorite Massachusetts breweries use hops from a local family-owned hop farm right here in Massachusetts?
Our friends over at 4-Star Farms are there for you whether you're a commercial brewery or a small batch home brewer.
Make sure to head over to their website today and get your hands on some of the best and freshest hops available locally. Cheers.
At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, cheese, and more. Not sure where to start? They have knowledgeable staff there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family-owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. Visit their website, beer-wine.com, and use our promo code BREWS for 10% off your online order today.
Shirts on Tap is the box subscription service for craft beer lovers. Each month, Shirts on Tap partners up with 7 different breweries from across the country and collaborates on a sweet custom shirt design. We've been teamed up with Shirts on Tap since the inception of the podcast and are proud to announce a new promo code for all of our listeners. To get your first shirt for $5 off, go to the link in our description below and use the promo code. And remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts. And we're back. We cracked open, Erica, what beer did we crack open? Joyride?
Joyride.
Yeah, I know that Matt and Jamie are also enjoying Joyride with us.
Yep.
So let's talk about that, and then we're going to get into the origin of the name. But tell us about Joyride.
Yeah, so Joyride is a East Coast hazy IPA. It's 7.3% ABV, I think.
I think this one might be 7, but either way,
Either way.
7-ish.
7-ish%. Citra, Galaxy hop, and some other little stuff thrown in there for spice. But yeah, so it's just one of our hazies. We do brew several hazies here. It's a style that the three of us really like, and was one of the reasons we got into creating Stompbox.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Interesting. So
Cool.
tell us about the name Stompbox.
Yep. So
I would assume like a lot of breweries or businesses, we put a ton of thought into the name. Probably I went through a number of names that were maybe already taken by other breweries or businesses. And I think the big thing is kind of wanted to look for something musically themed without maybe being dialed into like a particular style of music, like, heavy metal or country music.
Yeah.
For sure not country. But anyway, and I'll let Matt maybe kind of add on to.
Jamie and myself, we play guitar. And so we just kind of like the idea of the musicianship side of things. Obviously, a Stompbox for guitarists, adds basically sound and flavor to your guitar tones and into your music. So we liked how that incorporated into beer as well. Obviously with, different ingredients in beer as far as hops and grain. So, and just kind of was a nod to, musicians. There's a lot of people that have no idea what a Stompbox is that we find out. But the flip side is that, musicians that are in bands and stuff that see our tap handles that have Stompboxes on the top of them, they really dig it. They get it. And so that's a cool, feedback that we get.
Yeah, spark some conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So for those people who don't know, what is a Stompbox?
Stompbox is a general name for a guitar effects pedal. And think about any sort of, you play a guitar through an amplifier, or do you play an acoustic guitar by itself and it has a fairly clean tone? You just hear the strings playing what most people would associate with guitar. But, a Stompbox can add distortion. It can add delay. It can, even like a wah pedal is, I guess, somewhat of maybe not a true Stompbox, but it's certainly a guitar effects pedal.
Yeah.
So just adding a different tone, or like Matt said, flavor to the basic sound of a guitar.
A timbre, as you would.
Oh, right. That's a good word, Ryan.
Look at you tuning in.
I like that. This is completely off topic, but I know a lot of musicians. Do you have a favorite guitar pedal?
Do I have a favorite guitar pedal? Probably not. I have a bunch, and actually one of our bartenders, he makes guitar effects pedals. So
jeez.
he's in the works right now. He's making a Power Groove. It's basically a dual rat pedal.
Cool.
Has 2 stages. We're going to release that at some point here, and so yeah.
So beer and guitar pedals, I love it. It's like
there you go.
It's like the best.
Well,
combo.
beer and music, honestly, like we've talked about before, it goes together so well.
Yeah.
When we take another break, maybe we can grab one of the like our tap handles.
Yeah.
Sort of just like they are not functioning guitar pedals, but they look like one. If you're looking at our tap handle, it looks like we actually have guitar pedals
That's
on
so
top
cool.
of them. So
That is super cool.
Kind of a cool thing.
Okay.
Nice.
Speaking of music, we always seem to go into brew houses and music is blaring. Do you have a specific genre that's always blaring, or do you have a rule against certain genres to not be played?
I don't think we really have a rule. We tend to let whoever's working that day pick it. A lot of times it's rock, not a whole lot of like heavy metal, but it's a fairly eclectic mix.
Different kinds of rock music.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Do you allow jam bands?
Sure.
I personally would.
I wish we would. I'm a huge Fish fan and Dead fan, so
Right.
there you go. And so I'm all for it. All the Chuck Dust torture you can get. So
That's great.
That's so funny. We
What do
know
you
a
guys-
couple of breweries that are like, no fish, no
No jam bands.
no dead. No dead. Yeah. So-
What do you guys play in the brew house on brew days?
Probably a lot of metal.
yeah,
Okay.
it's typically pretty heavy stuff. So
See, Matt's pretty like varied and diversified, I guess. He likes jam bands and he likes metal. I like a lot of stuff, but metal, I guess, would always be my go-to, and probably maybe tend towards a little bit more on the extreme side of things. Matt's probably more Metallica. Slayer would be probably about as
Pantera.
I don't want to speak for you, Pantera. There you go.
Yeah.
all the hair metal stuff, and then
yeah.
Grateful Dead, and Fish, and all that kind of stuff. So
That's
and everything in between, Ray
Cool.
LaMontagne and
Yeah.
Avett Brothers and all that jazz.
Why
so.
not?
All right, we're going back to beer for those people.
Okay,
who have plus,
fine.
For those people who have 30-second plus into the episode, not want to learn about music, shame on you. Go back and listen to that. But I want to know, what's the beer scene like in Davenport or Iowa as a whole? How many breweries are there? And
Yeah.
Are you guys known for New England style IPAs or East Coast IPAs?
We're trying.
We're trying. That's a particular style that we like to brew pretty regularly, and several different, takes on it. For the Quad Cities, we're about 330,000 people, I think, somewhere around there. We have around 12 to 13 breweries. So it's, the community does support the craft beer scene pretty well. And so, yeah, as in Iowa in general, most people know Toppling Goliath.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're the big boys in Iowa, but we've got a ton of great breweries in Des Moines and Iowa City and all that stuff. So,
Are you guys
Yeah.
known for anything specifically there?
Sliced bread, Erica. We already went over that.
I would
Obviously.
say, I think for having been open a year, we've already gotten good feedback. I mean, there's some other breweries, I think, that have told us, hey, you guys are somewhat on people's radar. People know about you, which for having been in business for only a little over a year, it's not an ego thing. It's just, I guess, you just
a
want to
nice
be known,
thing. Yeah.
known for making good beer.
For sure.
And that's really why we got into this. So that's certainly, I think welcome feedback to get, at an early stage
For sure.
of our business. So,
yep.
Jamie, you mentioned before, originally you were a big macro drinker. I feel like Iowa, pretty working class area, especially in Davenport. A lot of macro drinkers, I'm guessing, out there. How do you convince some macro drinkers to become craft beer drinkers that walk into the tap room?
I don't know. I mean, one of the beers we sent you there, which is the Flood Insurance, is a beer that we, it's an approachable style. It's a blonde ale. So, I mean,
Yep.
We're going to try it.
Let's
right
open
now.
it right now.
it's not dark. It's not hoppy. And it's beer that tastes like beer. That's kind of what I tell people sometimes.
Beer that tastes like beer.
Best descriptor ever.
Yep.
But I think, for a style that for maybe people that are really into craft beer and have been into craft beer for a long time, I think people tend to keep, trying more. I think people's tastes change. I mean, I didn't used to like IPAs a long time ago, but I certainly
Right.
do now.
I still don't. No, I'm just kidding.
So it's a good gateway, or I guess entry-level beer. It's approachable. And honestly, it's one of our biggest sellers, I think, just because I think there are still plenty of people that come in here that, want something. I don't want something hoppy. I don't want something dark.
Yeah.
What do I buy that tastes?
Yeah.
This
If I
is your
drink
perfect.
Something clean and
This
easy
is your perfect
drinking.
lawnmower beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very much enjoys it.
So talk to us a little bit about the Oktoberfest. You were saying earlier, it's not necessarily
Yeah.
a true lager, but
It's not a true lager. So we use a Kvike on this. So Kvike
Cool.
yeast is redundant, but anyways, Kvike yeast,
Yeah.
and so Kvike is basically a Norwegian yeast that you can ferment at a really high temperature if you want. It tends to ferment out very quickly, but the version that we used is
Lutra.
a Lutra,
Nice,
and
yeah.
that gives basically lager-like characteristics that you'd want in a Marzen or an Oktoberfest. We chose to do that just because, as you guys kind of mentioned in the break, fermentation time for a lager and lagering takes a considerable amount of time, and for us to
Hold up tanks. Yeah.
We only have
basically-
4 fermenters.
yeah, so to take a fermenter for 3 months would not be very desirable. So,
Yeah.
Probably not a good business
Yeah,
idea.
10 out of 10 don't recommend.
yeah, so that's the approach that we took. Is we felt like we could still stay fairly true to the style and everything. So
Awesome.
That's definitely probably
We
going to
got-
be the one we're going to crack open next. We're very excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I really want to try this.
Yeah.
We've gotten good feedback. I mean, we did it last year, and when we ran out of it, people were like, I wouldn't say horrified or distraught that people were definitely
Crying
disappointed
on the streets.
that we ran out of it. So
Did you make more this year?
yeah, we made a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Okay, cool.
All right, so you guys have some awesome can art. Before we get into that, quick word from our sponsors. So Ryan,
Take it away.
take it away.
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brew sent you. Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer. So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers.
All right, so we're back on the Oktoberfest. We ended up just talking about it off air, but
We just got to talk about it on
We
air,
gotta talk about
because,
it
you know
more.
what? This is great, juicy, nerdy.
nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
We're home brewers. We're trying to be better, and not everyone has the option to lager. And it's interesting that you were able to kind of get the same effect. So some of the comments we were making, this beer is like great clarity. It's excellent.
Tastes bright. It's clean.
It's pretty true to
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
If I didn't know that you didn't lager this, I would not have said anything. So pretty cool.
Cool. That's a good thing. We faked you out. So.
So
Juked us.
That doesn't mean much. I'm not much of a palate.
But yeah, kind of back to the yeast, Lutra and fermentation of that. And last year we fermented at 95 degrees and
what did brewing at a higher temperature, just for the listeners, what does that do for the beer?
So fermenting at higher temperature.
well, for like the other strains, I guess it gave a lot more citrusy, estery flavors. This strain specifically
For like clarity?
didn't really give you that.
Yeah, so some of the strains are intended for, or at least marketed to be used in IPAs. Like there's the Voss, there's
Hornadol, there's
Hornadol, Voss.
there's one called Hothead too, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
And they all, if you're fermenting at those higher temps that they recommend, can give different fruity esters. Some of them are described as more citrusy, some more tropical. But specifically with this Lutra strain, which was, I believe, isolated from another strain of yeast, they state that if you ferment at those hot temps, that it will be more clean than if you were to ferment at lower temps. So
Last year you did at 95.
Yeah, yes. Last year we did at 95, and basically we don't have any way other than the jacket of the fermenter to maintain 95 degrees.
Yeah.
So you just basically, it does like a slow cool. So this year, and then we basically set temperature control to kick on glycol if you exceed 95 degrees, because you want to keep Lutra under 100.
Okay.
So we basically said we're going to knock out to 95 and then tell the fermenter to not allow it to go above 95. So when fermentation begins, activity will increase temperature and all that. So we were just going to try and hit 95. This year we did a little bit different. We knocked out, I think it was around 85 degrees, and set our fermenter to 95. So we actually let it like ferment and warm up to 95 and then come back down. I don't remember where I heard it, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I read that like if there's a big temperature swing with Lutra, like as far as decreasing temperature, that it can stall fermentation. So we decided to start low and go up and then back down to help, I guess, see what would do, I guess. You know? So I don't know. We're all just playing around here and trying to figure it out. So
by starting at a little lower temp, is it raised up I don't think that we ever even actually got up to 95 where the glycol would have kicked on in our fermenter. So
you just gotta let it do its thing.
We let the whole thing
Yeah.
kind of be a bit more organic, I guess, and just raise up towards that 90 to 95 degree temp. And then as fermentation slowed, obviously because the ambient temp in the room is more like 70, it started to drop back down. So we really just sort of let it do its thing.
Yep.
Nice. Do you recall at all, is this year's better than last year's, or?
It seems very similar
Yeah.
to me. This year's is clearer
Interesting.
than last year's. So we've done a Pilsner with the Lutra as well. And we had a little bit of, I don't know if it's chill haze or whatever in it. But, you know, for this one, we tried to do some other things to get to clear up. So how we knocked it, or, you know, basically did cold break, cold rest,
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Well,
awesome.
looks like it worked.
Yeah, awesome job in executing on that. That's awesome. So Iowa, what is like the style that Iowa is known for? Like, what's the most popular style in Iowa? Or you don't? Yeah, it's a
We're at
Bush Light.
Yeah.
That's
so
the
corn
style.
law, corn
All
law,
right.
You remember the GoFundMe thing, or what was it?
2 or 3 years ago, the kid who was a student out at Iowa State and was on like college game day and
he was like Venmo me so I can buy Bush
Yeah,
Light.
Venmo me, yeah, sorry.
Busch Light.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
He raised like $3 million for the
Oh my God.
What
for
a
the
genius.
hospital.
Yeah,
for the
Aw.
hospital.
Well, that's nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
But as far as what, I don't know if there's a style that we're known for here. I mean, we're also, I guess, geographically, and this isn't that interesting, but we're right on the border with Illinois and Iowa. So, you know, we're only about 3 hours from Chicago.
Yeah, pretty good beer scene up there. Yeah.
But also like 3 hours from Des Moines would probably be the biggest city in
Yeah.
Iowa. That, so, you know, we have access, I guess, to, you know, the beer scene here. If you're willing to travel a little bit, there's a lot of stuff available. As Matt mentioned earlier, we're also about 3 hours from Decorah, which is where Toppling Goliath is. And it's all three of us, Matt and myself, and then Joe, the other owner, at times probably in the last 10 years, made many trips to Decorah to get Toppling Goliath stuff before they were distributing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, certainly that was probably my first real exposure to what I would call the, you know, IPAs that I think are popular now. I don't know if everything they did was hazy necessarily at the beginning, but they were certainly hop forward. And just being up there, there were always people that were bringing stuff to share
Right.
from places that, you know, I think that was the first time I ever had a Trillium IPA.
Woo.
Was that Toppling Goliath. So
That's awesome.
first time I ever heard of Treehouse was because TG did a collab with Treehouse
Yep. Yep.
6 or 7 years ago. So
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh. We know those people. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet
Yes.
you do.
when I'm always interested. In Massachusetts, we're very lucky because we have some brewing laws, or you know, our Brewers Guild fights for a lot of, you know, brewing laws to allow for smaller breweries to distribute easier, not get into these crazy contracts with distributors. What's the Brewers Guild like in Iowa, and do you guys have any crazy laws that you wish could change for brewers?
I don't know if we really have any crazy laws, but we serve liquor in the tap room, so we're not able to self-distribute. But
Oh, really? So you serve like whiskeys and vodkas?
yeah,
And really?
yeah.
Did you have to get
Yeah,
a specific license for that, or is that just covered under all the same?
Just an additional.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can basically get a beer and wine license, or you can get like
Oh, it's
beer,
beer and
wine,
wine
liquor
now.
license.
That's
And
nice.
so if we just had the beer and wine license, we could self-distribute, but we
Yeah.
chose to have basically a full bar. We do have, we sublease our kitchen to
Oh, nice.
another outfit, and they do all the food. They've been in the restaurant business for years. The three of us have never run a restaurant. So
Yeah, that makes it real easy for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always
figured-
interesting. Here we have brewers trying to run a restaurant and a brewery. So a lot of the
Yeah,
times.
and it's
Yeah.
we didn't feel like we were knowledgeable enough to do that, and honestly, there's people that have a lot more skill in that than we do. So we figured we'd let them handle that. So
Yeah, if I had one, I'd serve peanut butter and jellies.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what I'm good at
Or
making.
hot dogs. Yeah, hot dogs. Yeah.
I do seafood.
Oh, well,
that's
all
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
we thought about putting up a bunch of pizza pizzazzes, but
Yes.
I love it. So we want people ultimately to come to Davenport to try your brewery. But
Yeah.
we want people to also enjoy some of the local business around there. So what is the best hamburger joint to go to? What's the best local bar to go to? And give me another one.
So we do dive bar, we do best burger joint. Maybe like,
Well,
I don't know. You pick
I
one.
guess-
Hidden gem. Hidden gem. What's
Hidden
the best
gem. There you go.
gem.
Sure. Hidden gem.
hidden gem. The burger thing. I mean, the proprietor who we sublease our kitchen to, I believe, was voted as having the best burger in our metro area
Ooh.
so
within the past couple of years. So
Nice.
that I'm going to have to. That would be the current. The business they operate under here is called the Kitchen Brigade. So
Ooh,
Yep.
fun,
and
fun.
outside of that, we have Floyd's Burgers. He runs out of a food truck.
Nice.
So he's around town at a bunch of different breweries and different spots, but he does some really killer burgers as well.
Floyd's is
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
Hidden gem. Gosh, I don't know.
Uh,
I guess there's a pizza joint that's just a couple blocks away from where we're located that is sort of
New York style.
New York style.
Oh.
And sort of, I guess, maybe push some boundaries as far as toppings and just generally make very good pizza. They're called low pies.
Ooh.
Nice. So pineapple, other
Pineapple
do
pizza. Come
things.
on.
Cool.
Maybe some hot peppers,
All right,
you
all
know,
right. Nice.
different, I guess
Yeah.
a lot of different meats that they'll try out.
You got
on
like a
some of their
bacon
pizza.
ranch, I'm sure. Bacon chicken ranch, all that stuff.
yeah,
The
yeah.
huge. The huge.
So,
Love it. And then what
um,
about
other
dive
little-
bar?
I don't really hit a whole lot of dive bars, but we have Endless
man.
Brews that does like craft beer. But I guess for a dive bar, I'm trying to think of. I don't know. The one that I used to go to is closed down now. So,
Oh.
Vic hangs out at Jack's Locust Street Tap a lot.
Jack's, yeah.
There's a known locally as Jack's LST, not LSD. Jack's Locust Street Tap is a dive bar with, I think, generally.
They have a neon that says "lousy food, warm beer" in the window.
I love that.
So yeah, they're cool. So
See, like that's the thing. Like that's like the thing that would make me like go there.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Sure.
that's
It's like
yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
don't want warm beer, but that fucking sign.
I like the vibe.
Other than that, I would tell you that there's a place that originated, a pizza place here in Davenport where we are back in the early 70s that is now kind of franchised out. They're not nationwide, but they're more sort of Midwest regional, but they are the creator or the inventor of the taco pizza, which is fairly,
What?
Taco pizza.
yeah, you didn't ever heard of that?
No.
No?
Tell us
yeah.
my
It's
God.
basic. Think of a normal pizza, but it's got, instead of normal like Italian sausage on it, sort of more of a Mexican seasoned like taco meat flavored sausage,
All right.
lettuce, tomato, and then I believe like Doritos.
it's got like
nacho
tortilla
cheese.
chips
There's like
on
cream
it.
cheese usually on top.
Yeah.
Nacho
Sour
cheese
cream.
Doritos,
Yeah.
crumbled, crushed
Yeah.
up, and on the pizza,
Yeah.
and then they serve it. Usually, if you order to go, it comes with like many packets of taco sauce.
I need that. I
That
need
sounds
that.
amazing. I'll come for that.
So, most importantly, we want people to come to Stompbox. Where are you guys physically located?
Yeah, we're located at 210 East River Drive. So we're like literally, you can look out our front window and see the Mississippi.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
So
awesome.
we're right downtown Davenport. on River Drive, and I guess Brady Street is about a block down. So that's the big intersection.
Cool. Cool.
Brady Street's the main street that runs up through Davenport. So
Is it the greatest street of all time?
Oh, like Tom Brady? Oh, like Tom Brady? Oh,
I didn't even think of that. It's a terrible street.
That's the worst.
It's a Bears fan.
There's a somewhat, I guess, well-known like road race that happens here every July called the Bix 7.
Yeah.
Named for like a jazz musician who I think was from Davenport, and it was back in the
It was in the 40s.
Yeah,
So
earlier part of the past century. But the Bix 7 is a 7-mile road race, and it goes up Brady Street Hill, which is about half a mile probably.
It's a long ways when you're running uphill.
It's a long way, and it's a steep hill.
Yeah, and it brings in elite runners and all that jazz.
Oh,
that's cool.
fun
so-
facts.
Ryan, we'll have to train to. You
20,000.
gonna run it, Ryan?
No.
No.
Yeah, we got this. Come on.
Hey, they got a quick Bix, so you can do that one. It's 2 miles, and then you can drink all the beer at the end, right? So-
Ryan, we could
Done.
do 2 miles.
Done.
Yeah, I could probably do
Yeah.
that.
You can walk it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
there's
right.
lots of walkers.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for doing this. I appreciate it. I do have one last question. I'm sure my co-hosts have other.
Oh.
I have.
Is your third
Oh.
co-owner also bald like you two?
No.
No,
Oh,
He's got a full head of
that's
hair.
why
he's got
he
a lot
isn't
of
here.
hair.
Yeah, he's got a lot of
So
hair.
I'll add that Matt has generally a full head of hair,
Oh.
but he just chooses to shave his head.
Yeah.
I don't have much, so I've had this haircut for probably 20 years.
It looks good. I have to say, like, it looks good. Like, it's a good look.
I try.
Yeah.
I've not paid for a haircut for like 20 years either, so that's
That's
I don't
nice.
know how much
That's
money
something.
Enough money to
That's-
open a brewery.
Yeah.
it was just spent on craft beer instead. But, but no, our third owner, he's got hair.
All right.
Cool.
That's what I wanted to know.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So I want to know what you want to learn more about.
He stole your question, Erica.
Stole it.
Your
What we
question.
want to learn more about
Yeah.
Yeah.
as far as brewing?
Sure.
Whatever you want.
Okay. I don't know, just how to do this better in general. Like,
How to spend less
such an
time here?
honest-
yeah, just, I mean, obviously we don't have a professional training in this whole thing, so we're faking it until we can make it here. So,
Well, you're doing
just-
a good fucking job.
Yeah, the
so
beer's
These
awesome.
beers are
Keep it
great.
up.
So
just logistics of running a brewery, and especially as we grow, things are going to change. So
I wish you all the success, honestly, with that.
cool.
yeah. What is
Thank
next
you.
for you
We
guys? Do you
appreciate
have any big plans for the next year?
We are, I guess, plans. We brewed a Russian Imperial Stout last winter, and that has
Ooh.
been sitting in some bourbon barrels since early February.
Nice.
Yep.
So we're looking to probably release that in the next couple months. We're probably thinking like Thanksgiving time frame. So
Good plan.
Yep.
excited about that. I mean, that's I don't know. That's like not that we want to be, we're not in this for the hype, but I mean,
We didn't throw cereal in it or like marshmallows or
not yet.
spooky
No,
candy.
not-
Yeah, not
none of
yet.
that yet.
Peeps? You didn't put peeps in
Yeah,
it?
there you
No.
go.
No peeps. But we're excited about that. I mean, I think initial impressions of it, having sampled it a little bit, are that it's really good. You don't ever know for certain, I
Yeah.
guess, until you get it
True.
cold and carbonated. But I think we've followed the process, and we're always pretty particular about how we do things, which is one of the reasons I think that we've had good success. So we really haven't had any batches that we've thrown away yet.
Awesome.
And even when it's a style that maybe was not necessarily in our wheelhouse, like maybe, I brewed hazy IPAs over and over when I was homebrewing, but there's other styles that I probably didn't do as much. So, I think if you pay attention to detail and, it's not impossible to make good beer, even when it's a style that you've not done a whole lot.
That was great.
In research. You got to research.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah.
that was good. So Matt, what kind of information would you give to like a fellow home brewer or someone starting out or?
Stick
can't
with
say
home
don't
brewing.
do it. Yeah, you
No.
can't say don't do it.
I know I always kind of joke because my homebrew setup is basically a small version of what I'm working on now. So I have a stout homebrew setup that's electric as well.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's a 20-gallon setup. And so, yeah, it's probably as automated or more automated than ours here. So,
Of course.
Just a small homebrew setup.
yeah, it's, you know, if you're interested in it, go for it. Like there is still tons of room in craft beer to be successful. The big boys still own 80% of the market, so you just got to keep chipping away at that.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and so it's people like when we were opening, they're like, "Oh, is there room for another, you know, brewery?" I'm like, "Oh, is there a room for another restaurant or pizza place or like?" And nobody really
Yeah.
questions that.
True.
Yeah.
So it's
That's a
or a
good way to put
bar
it.
or whatever. So, you know, we feel like as long as you are ambitious, make good product and, you know, really, you know, have heart in it, then why not? So,
Definitely. I would like to tell people like before Prohibition, there were more breweries than there are now. You know,
Yeah.
so of course we can have another brewery. Why not?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we got a
Awesome.
lot more people.
Right, exactly.
They're great
Exactly.
spaces to hang out and
Yeah, for everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for doing this evening. We really appreciate it, and I think
Yeah.
we need to make our way
Before
out
we
to
forget-
Davenport.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
yes.
that is so cool.
Look at it. That
It
is
really does
awesome.
look.
That's a
And
cool
it,
tap.
like
Oh, it clicks.
if you actually put a 9-volt battery in it, the LED will blink.
Hell yeah.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
The guy that made the pedal, I asked him, I was like, I want it to blink every 15 minutes. So when you have it out of house, you click that on, and when you're sitting at the bar, you'll see that thing blink. Look at it, and then
Time
it
for
won't
another
blink
beer.
again for 15 minutes. And then, so it's a little, you
Reminder:
know,
you need another beer.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
That's the time for another beer. Not
love
drinking fast enough.
That's awesome. Those are super
Yeah.
cool.
That's so
Yep.
cool. Well, Matt and
On
Jamie,
that
we hope
note-
to see you in person sometime in the near future.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Awesome.
cool.
Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cool.
Yep. Thanks so much, guys.
Anytime.
Thanks.
Yep.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Thank you.